All right, thank you, everyone. We will call the January 16th meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. At this point, are there any disclosures of interest? If there are none, we'll move down to review and approve the previous board meeting minutes.
Move approval, Anderson.
Fletcher.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Review and approve the county board agenda.
There are no changes, Chair.
No changes. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve. Flanders.
Second, Anderson.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Review and approve the following items on the consent agenda. We have 9 items.
Move approval as presented, Anderson.
Is there a second?
Second, Flanders.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We'll start our regular agenda. Budget Committee report, County Administrator's report.
Thank you, Chair. The Budget Committee was held last Friday due to time constraints this morning. At the Budget Committee, the out-of-state travel requests were reviewed. All of them were approved. In addition to all of these, the Budget Committee did say they were in support of taking some of last year's money from the Washington fly-in and putting that towards either one of the NACO conferences, which actually there's enough there to, if a commissioner wanted to do both of them. So most of these out-of-state travel requests are funded by a grant, except for the staff time. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board?
I would move to approve all the out-of-state travel requests as presented and include carrying over those dollars from the fly-in to this year.
Second, Flanders.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Human Resources Manager's report, Personnel Committee
We had
packet.
the early order equipment. Do we need to take that separately?
No, we should have a motion on that, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go back to the early order of equipment for 2025.
It's on the other side of the sheet, so. Also at the Budget Committee, the Budget Committee reviewed early order of the 2025 equipment and also discussed the other equipment that we've early ordered and still don't have. So, and they did go ahead and approve that as well. And Jess would probably be best to answer any questions.
Can I get a motion on this?
Motion to authorize the early order of the tandem plow truck.
In a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Any questions for Jess, anyone?
Well, just in the Budget Committee, it was pointed out, you're 2 years out to get equipment. So if you don't order it, it's not happening in 25, it's happening in 26 if you wait to order it later. So you have to get it. And just to piggyback on that, when you look at our ordering of squads and our fleet vehicles, I think we need to be cognizant. We may need to order them earlier rather than later, because we haven't gotten some that we've ordered that should have been here by now.
We have 2 hybrids that we ordered 2 years ago that we do not have yet.
So I think, yeah, we need to be cognizant of that and look at that as we get into the year here. Maybe we need to start ordering earlier because of the delays that happen.
We have a motion on the floor. Any more comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we will go to the Human Resources Manager's report.
Good morning. The Personnel
I can't
Committee-
hear you. Can you,
Can you hear me now?
is your light on?
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you hear me
Okay.
now?
Yep.
Okay. The Personnel Committee met last week, Friday, and there were 2 positions on the agenda, both for the Sheriff's Department. The first one was for a 67-day temporary employee for the Adult Detention Center.
Does this one work?
I think so.
I wasn't able to attend the conference. I'm going to turn it over to, first of all, I want to introduce you to our new ADC captain, Mark Bolster. With the resignation of Heather Stevens in December, he made it through the process and is now our new ADC captain. And with that, we were able to reevaluate his old position, and that's why we're here. Battery's dead. That's why we're here, because we did reevaluate his old sergeant position, and I'll let Chief Haneke explain that, but I had the fun part of introducing Mark, and Mark's been how many years, Mark?
24 years. I started when the jail, our current jail, opened up in the year 2000. The past 19 years as a supervisor in the jail, and very happy to have been selected and have a commitment in mind to keep our staffing levels the best we can, at the best level we can. And my second goal is to work more in the mental health field to get some quality training in for our staff. So.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to turn the request actually over to Chief Haneke. Thank you. You can stay. You might have an answer.
I think the smaller one works now too, John. Oh, she just switched it out. Yep.
Good morning. What you see in front of you is a request for a 67-day temp. We do actually utilize 67-day temps in our ADC. This position will only be utilized when there would be an overtime request that we would fill with another ADC detention staff. If no one takes that open shift, we would utilize this person for that. What that would also do for us is that person, we're not going to have to force another ADC staff, force them in to cover that overtime shift. If no one in the ADC takes that, we'll offer it to this person. So we can maybe even get some of the reduction of forcing people in. As you know, the ADC's kind of had a few hard years where they've been forcing a lot of people in, just a lot of overtime. This person, when they come in, as you're going to see, is going to get paid at $27.73. When you're forcing somebody in, they're coming in on overtime. Obviously, they're coming in at whatever their rate is, but at time and a half.
Having sat in on the budget, or the Personnel Committee, I recommend that we go forward with this, so I'd move that recommendation for the 67-day temp.
Is there a second? I will second that. Are there any questions? We currently do have one 67 temp right now, correct?
Correct.
We have one, and so this would actually be the second, so.
And they can't work so much that they're working overtime, is that correct?
Yes, we've got the rules, even with the paid sick time, leave, all that stuff that you've been brought up to speed on. We're always tracking that. We're going to make sure they're under those allotted 67 days.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I would entertain a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. The second position that they discussed on Friday is for to eliminate the vacated position of training compliance and power shift sergeant and promote 2 different current detention deputies to fill the newly created position of ADC court sergeant and ADC compliance sergeant.
with this position, we're trying to do is Captain Bolster used to hold the position of training and compliance. Training and compliance in our power shift kind of court sergeant. That was at a
I'm sorry, John, they're having troubles hearing. Can you almost act like you're eating that microphone when you talk?
All right, I'll start over. So Captain Bolster previously held the position of ADC. It was power shift sergeant, kind of a training and compliance sergeant. What we're looking at doing, that was graded out by DDA last year at a 112. What we're proposing is taking that position, those two kind of sergeant's positions, breaking them out into two separate sergeant positions. The DDA is also graded out at a 111. So we'll be going from a 112 where the position was previously at, creating two 111 positions as sergeants. So it'll be a power shift sergeant, court sergeant that deals with schedule. We'll then have our training and compliance sergeant will be the other half of that. What we're then doing, where we're getting that other kind of body, because one's going to two, is we're taking one of our current FTEs for a detention deputy, and we're making that go from a 108 to a 111. As you can see in the letter that we had submitted for this request, there's a possibility with current contract language that this could impact the budget upwards of $11,000. There's also with some new possible proposals coming through the promotional process, how that works, how you promote someone. So that number could be on the high side, 11,000, but on the bottom end, if this new language gets proposed and accepted by the unions, it could be down towards where we're saving. It's a savings of maybe 11,000 to 10,000 in there. There's a lot kind of going in the process because of the pay study and how people get promoted, that's where there's kind of that big variance in what that could be for the budget at this point. When we do talk about the training compliance, when this position came open, we always ask every position that comes open, look at those positions, reevaluate, can we do things better? We did that, and that's where we came to this. And we're probably going back to how we maybe used to do it. We used to have much more dedicated training. When Mark looked at his position, it was there was a lot being put on that position because Mark was also doing the schedule. The schedule takes up a lot of time when we're dealing with staff shortages and a lot of that. Open for any questions.
Any questions from the board?
So I think you're saying it would be the same number of total employees as there are currently. So how do you backfill what the two were doing? Is that just divided out among everybody?
Yeah, basically, we'll be taking away, we haven't been at full staff for a long time, so we have been getting by with not even our full staff numbers for a long time. So at some point, we'll be down, if you want to look at it as a detention staff. But we've been reevaluating, too, when you look at our staffing. A lot of the staffing numbers were 2 intake officers, 2 rovers, something we haven't done forever because we haven't been full staff. We're not even, do we know when the last time we were full staff? So we do know that training and compliance is very important. We've actually, we've evaluated some things, we've had some things that could have improved, and that's what we're really trying. When you talk training and compliance, many of you commissioners know it, but one of your biggest liabilities you have is your ADC. If you're going to get sued, it's going to be in the ADC, and it's going to be for millions of dollars. And we're just taking and putting that in the forefront. We believe that's very important for our ADC to make sure our staff, and we have a lot of new staff, they're trained up to the standards that they need to be.
Thank you.
Approval of this request.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second. Any other comments?
The only comment I will make, and I made it during the Personnel Committee, you know, when we talk about compliance and training, as far as the patrol, it's very important. As far as the investigators, as far as the whole department, it's really important. The difference to me is in ADC, you are 24/7 working with a detainee, or you're in that realm 24/7. Whereas when you're on patrol, you may only interact 20% or 30% of the time with any citizen in the county. Training at the ADC, especially with all the issues around mental health and all of those things, the training is so critical that we get it right and that we make sure our staff there are doing it the right way every time, because it is truly where we have the most exposure. And that's why I supported this, is because we are going towards that end to make sure our staff is very, I'm not that hungry, are very well trained and do that well. Thank you.
And I know when we talked there too, is how much of the mental health issue right now is getting thrown on our detention deputies. I mean, we need to do some real major changes in our state to handle people with mental health issues. So, well, yeah, the training is so vital and so important. So we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Finance Director's Report. Law Enforcement Center Lease Agreement.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The members of the Law Enforcement Center Committee met several times throughout 2023. The purpose of these meetings was to negotiate lease terms that would be acceptable to both Goodhue County Board of Commissioners as well as representatives of the City of Red Wing. The previous lease agreement expired on December 31st, 2023. The City of Red Wing and Goodhue County have a long history of working together and sharing space with the Law Enforcement Center. The building was first opened in 1999, and the space has been shared since that time. Throughout the negotiations process, the county has maintained the understanding that continuing to share the space would be mutually beneficial to both of those parties. Numerous topics were discussed during the meetings, including square footage usage, lease rates, actual costs of upkeep of the building, as well as space needs. During this process, we hired TSP to complete a space study to compute the actual square footage numbers used by each party. They also developed several options, including They also developed several options to reallocate and expand square footage in the future. Committee members include numerous representatives of the City of Red Wing, both elected and staff members. Elected committee members from Goodhue County were commissioners and the sheriff. Several staff were also involved, including individuals from administration, sheriff's office, facilities, as well as the finance department. The final square footage allocation was established by TSP as part of their contracted services. The lease rates were developed based off of research and escalate annually to reach levels closer to actual market rate. The term of the new lease is for 2 years with the option to extend for an additional 1 year. And this agreement was approved by the City of Red Wing on January 8th, 2024. Staff recommends that the board approve the lease agreement as requested, and I'm be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Lucas at this point? I would entertain a motion.
I'll move to accept the LEC lease agreement.
I will second that. Any other discussion?
I'd just like to thank the people who served on that to work through this lease agreement. So thank you for your work.
And the only comment that I'll make is the City of Red Wing is exploring other options and having a space study done on a building that they own to see if they believe it serves the city best to continue to partner with the county or if it serves them best to go on their own.
Because another part of that space study was in the next 20 years, was it, that we're going to need that space, I think?
Mm-hmm. Projected, yes.
Projected, yes, from the space study, so. All right, at this point, I'll call roll, or the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Appreciate it, Lucas. County Board Committee reports.
I have one.
Okay.
Actually, it's not exactly from a committee, but it has to do with Red Wing Ignite. In 2022, we were asked to contribute some money so that they could apply for their grant, Build a Scale grant. And we did pass that. They did get the grant, so they were only one of 9 rural counties that were awarded this highly competitive grant. They did secure an amount of $4 million so that they can scale up their programming and increase outreach. And I have taken classes there. They really are quite superb as far as innovation goes and how to start something new. So I think that's very exciting. $4 million.
All right. Anything else? Any new or old business? One. County claims.
Approval as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
It's been moved. I'll second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Thank you. 10 o'clock, correct?
10 o'clock.